All right, friends, this week we're back with another episode of Music in the Minor League. This week we are joined by Trish Cramblet. You may recognize her from her band Trish Cramblet and the Bad Habits playing around town, or you may have been lucky enough to hear her records when they've come out. They're really great. If you followed us online, you heard us absolutely gush over her album Supernova. It's such a good record. We really love it. If you haven't given it a listen, do it. Do yourself the favor. It's really great stuff. We got to catch up with Trish before our show at the Old Quarter, so this is a field trip recording. You'll notice the nice rain in the background as it rained before the show. Adds to the ambiance, makes for a lot of fun. As always, before we kick off, let's get to the housekeeping. First thing, if you like the show, share it with friends, let other people know. It's the way we get the word out the best. Word of mouth works way better than anything else. You got algorithms crushing down everything you do. Speaking of which, if you like the bands and music we discuss, go follow them on your streaming service of choice. Comment on their things, follow them on social media. It helps make them visible to a few more people. It's great stuff. It really does help. So now we're going to run through, as we always do, the Brightwire calendar coming up. If you want to see us play, we'll be playing this Friday at Ronnie's Hog Heaven in Dickinson, Texas with Grifters and Chills and Whiskey Dick. Again, we did this in December. Great show. So much fun. We'll be kicking the night off, probably 9 o'clock. Then on June 10th, we'll be heading down to my hometown in Crystal Beach, Texas to play at the Naughty Beaver Hunt with a locals festival. People coming home. We know it's going to be us. We know it'll be Michael Farrell, and we're not really sure who else, but we'll let you know as soon as we can on that lineup. In the middle of June, we're going to be heading to New Mexico. We'll be doing 2 nights in Albuquerque. On June 16th, we'll be at Pokey Pokey Cevicheria. We'll be there from 6 to 9, all us all night. On June 17th, we'll be at Ponderosa Brewing Company. Again, all us all night, 6 to 9 just as well. Then on that Sunday, June 18th, we'll be heading south to Little Toad Creek Brewery and Distillery in Silver City, New Mexico. Man, we're so excited to get out in New Mexico. We've never played out there before, but it's going to be a good time. Then when we get home, we're going to be doing 2 special shows. On June 23rd, we'll be at Shoeshine Charlie's Big Top Lounge with the March Divide and 2/5. On June 24th, we'll be playing the Ace District Summer Music Festival in Baytown, Texas with us, Grifters and Chills, Daniel Lynn, Tony James, Michael Mike, and Nolan Shanks. So what makes these shows special? Well, we're working on it now, and if it all comes together, we'll be doing 2 full band shows. We'll have drums, bass, the whole deal. So we're trying to celebrate our first music festival in our hometown by bringing it out and going full band. So hopefully that'll work out as well as we hope, and you'll be seeing something special for those shows. July sees us playing a bunch around town and hitting the road through Kansas, Tennessee, and Arkansas. And we'll get to those dates next time. Right now, we're tired of talking and we're ready to get to Trish Cramblet. Before we start, here's a song we think y'all dig of hers. This is a title track off of her album called Supernova. Have a good one. See you on the other side.
Particles doomed to collide. It's really no
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Music in the Minor League. We're here today with Trish Cramblet of solo fame and also of Trish Cramblet and the Bad Habits. We're coming to you from the Old Quarter Acoustic Cafe. We're about to play a show together, so this is cool. It's the first interview we've done at the venue when we're playing a show with someone.
Pretty cool.
Landmarks.
First time.
Can't wait.
So
All
nervous.
right. So we're going to kick it off, as we always do. Hi, Trish. How are you? And like we always start with, how did you end up playing music?
Hi, guys. Thanks for asking me to do this. And thanks for asking me to play tonight and split the bill. I really appreciate it. I started playing music when I was a kid. And I guess figured out people liked my voice when I was pretty young. And sang a lot on the playground to little audiences. So I had kids that would come and listen to me sing, and then I had the other kids that would call me names because I had other kids come and hear me sing, that kind of stuff.
Because you were awesome. They were just jealous.
Well, I don't know if it was awesome, but, you know.
It's always when someone's brave enough to do something that you're not, it's like, whatever, your face is stupid.
Yeah.
And that's how you overcome your inability to act.
Kids would call me Barbara Streisand, like that was an insult, and I'm kind of like, wow.
Right. That was an insult.
Sorry, guys.
Yentl much?
Yeah, keep it up. Yentl much.
People who know people.
Yeah. So
That's cool.
and I guess when we lived in California at the time, and then we moved back to Oklahoma, and it was a really tiny town, and there wasn't a whole lot to do other than go to church. And so I went to a lot of tent revivals and basement sing-alongs, and pretty soon, as weird as it all was, I think it gave me this kind of cool foundation for roots music in a way, you know, along with, you know, growing up. I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and you know, we were just all steeping in fantastic music on FM radio. So that's kind of what happened. And then as I got older, you know, I kept playing in high school and was in every possible choral kind of thing you could imagine, and that's just kind of how it happened. I mean, that's where it started, should I say, yeah.
Well, it's always funny, like, for all the shortcomings of religion, it is good at pushing out really good vocalists and musicians.
It really does.
Like, most people we know that are really good at what they do are like, yeah, man, I used to play in my church band, or I used to sing in choir, do this.
Kim.
Yeah.
That was where the opportunity was when I was growing up.
Yeah, 100%.
Was in church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really soulful singers, you know, and you also, there's a lot of forums and hymns that are just kind of the basis for American music. And so it kind of gives you this cool little foundation. You know, the Mighty Orc, if you listen to him much, there's just kind of a low level of hymnals going through pretty much everything he does. You know, so yeah, I look back and think of that time in my life as being pretty weird, but that was kind of a cool part of it, is singing in church choirs and stuff.
Church choirs in high school was like what I had access to.
Yeah.
So what instrument did you pick up first?
Piano. I took some piano lessons when I was growing up. We moved a shit ton growing up, and like every year for a really long time. And so I'd get a piano teacher I like, and then the next place I'd have a piano teacher that was a shrew. And so I learned some basic theory and stuff. And then we moved to Holdenville, Oklahoma. We'd been living in California, and there were so many drugs in the school that my parents decided they were going to move us back to my dad's hometown, and that was Holdenville, Oklahoma, population 7,000.
Ooh.
And
It's huge. It's metropolitan.
yeah, exactly. And
Where I grew up.
it turned out that my piano teacher there, I didn't know it at the time, my Aunt Denise, who was like 15 years older than me, was a wild ass that went to high school there. And my piano teacher and her they were nemesis of each other in high school. I had no idea. So I'm this kid, 11-year-old kid, taking piano lessons from her. She fucking hated me. So I didn't stick with piano that much longer. But I got back and I started with guitar when I got into my early 20s. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I can still pick out a few notes on the piano. Never got very far with it either.
You know, I mean, for songwriting, I think
It's true,
It's
yeah.
a great, you know, if you can, I say that with anybody. I'm not a great guitar player, but I think if you can just throw some chords together, you can sit down at the piano and bang out what's the music that's in your head.
That's the hardest part, though.
Well, and then people who
Making
are
it
getting
translate.
yeah, it is hard.
Yeah.
But I think the more you get used to matching your voice to the notes on an instrument, the easier it starts becoming. And it just takes, you know, practice. But I've kept up playing guitar, and I still haven't. I'm not that great, but it was always, I realized it was always about the writing. You know, I live with somebody who's an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
And that is really daunting, because no matter what I do, I still suck at the end of the day, you know.
Comparatively.
Comparatively, and I don't know if I'm a natural at guitar, but it serves a purpose for me.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll never be a shredder, and
Yeah.
you know, I've had to come to terms with that.
So we're not going to get a Trish Cramblet, like, 80s rock ballad? Come on.
My name is
None of
Trish
that.
Cramblet, not Lita Ford.
But that's fine. I mean, there's different, you know, for like me, I mean, I've always been probably the less talented guitar player most bands I've been in.
Same here.
So, you know, it's always comes down to just, but it's, I can keep the rhythm, I can play the chords, and that's really all you need to do. I don't know, a lot of times for me, sometimes people who are really good at guitar, it takes away from the song because it's like,
I agree.
look at this tasty riff I can throw in here, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, but what did you just say? Like, oh, like, you know. And
Yeah, I've been in a few bands with like lead guitar players who are like that. It's like they could school you all day in theory and all that stuff, and it's beautiful notes, but it's like too much a lot of times. You're just like, man. And so then you come to me, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna give you the best I got,
I'm
and
a
it's gonna
basic
be real
bitch.
basic. It's gonna be real basic.
Well, and what are you saying? You
Exactly.
know? And are you playing in service of the song? And I think there's a lot of really amazing guitar players out there that can't write a song to save their lives, you know, and you can diddly do all over something, but if there's not really a song, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. I see that with production too. There'll be all this glossy production, and it's like, is there a song in there somewhere? I don't really hear it. So yeah, I think everybody has their gifts.
Yeah, I always viewed it as some people
It's
are,
true.
you know, the contractor that create the place. Some people are the interior designer who just comes in. It's like, we'll make it pretty.
I'm definitely an interior designer.
I am. See, where I view myself as like the dude who lays the foundation, and there it is.
I am.
Y'all just put what you want on top of it.
I try to make it pretty.
Sometimes, Elf and Kimdo, there are some cracks in the foundation, but you
We
know.
patch it. We're fine.
I think you guys have built a fine structure.
Well, thank you.
I love
See?
y'all's.
It's
I
been
love
fun.
your buildings. Yeah.
See,
There's some point where it's like, oh, that's not the chord.
So have you been writing since you were young?
I would say I wrote some stuff when I was a kid, and then I was always writing poetry. And then when I started playing guitar in my early 20s, I started writing, and then, you know, like every idiot, I got married, put it aside, had a kid, got a divorce, and then really couldn't play music for a really long time because I was trying to keep a roof over our heads. It was my son and I. And his dad was somewhat involved, but he ended up living in another city. So I was doing most of it. And then when my son got old enough, he was like in junior high, I started playing or taking guitar lessons again. And that's how I met my partner, Dave. He was my guitar teacher. And then I would play with a couple of cover bands and do some stuff. But then, and I was writing the whole time, but I was way too embarrassed I didn't think it was good. I was too embarrassed to put it out there because I knew people would think it was terrible, you know, and so it was a lot of insecurity. And then we had a friend that cut an album. And I don't know, there was just something I was like, God, if he can do it, I can do it. And Dave encouraged me. Anyway, that's when I met Paul Beebe and was able to finally squeeze the stuff and put it out there. And then that's the part I love the most is the writing
Yeah.
part, because you can do it in your head when you're doing anything. You know, I love that. And I'm always trying to put rhymes together and find a different way to have a better way to have it to express a line than the first thing that comes to my mind. So that's a really long answer to, did you write at the very beginning?
Your whole life. You've been a
Yeah,
writer.
but I mean, I don't even know it. Yeah. It's just always been, something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
write for
Yeah,
always?
like poetry.
Pardon,
Definitely.
poetry?
When I was in junior high school,
Always.
was that like gothic poetry girl.
Oh, that's cool, though.
My life is so terrible. My parents are so mean to me.
I mean, I think any junior songwriter, that's how it starts out.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to this day, I'm sure anyone who's listening or yourself, there are songs you push out to this day and you're like, okay, we're going to take that out to the grill and we're going to throw it in.
Yeah.
And no one can ever know that I wrote that.
This one does not exist.
Like, I did not write this at 42 years old. Like, this is bad, or 43 years old, 44.
I'm just embracing it now, though. Like, I just tell people that I'm like, I haven't been writing songs that long, and so I consider myself like maybe a teenage songwriter. I'm not.
So, what era would you say you're in?
I would say I'm in my Taylor Swift era right now.
Okay.
6 for 6.
And I am.
Gross.
I write some angry songs sometimes, but they're about things that happened to me when I was in my 20s.
Oh, yeah. I think
I'm still mad about that shit.
It's cathartic, right? You're finally getting to speak up
It is.
about it, I think, is some of it.
I have a platform now.
But we have to be very careful.
Look out.
Because since you're married to Sam, a lot of times when it's like I'm out the door and all that stuff, it's like, wow, Sam must be really hard
He gets-
to live with.
Yeah, maybe people think it's him.
We need like a disclaimer. It's not Sam.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm fine with people believing that. I'm totally. It helps with our comedy routine that we do between songs.
It does.
Many layers of sand.
I'm totally fine with people thinking I'm a terrible person. That's great.
You're not.
I don't think anybody believes that you're a terrible
anybody
person,
who knows
Sam.
anything
But I'm
of you.
hoping that someone's like, "Oh man, he's terrible."
It's part of the lore of Samuel Barker.
Oh, yeah. He seems like a nice guy, but God, if you
All
listen to
facade.
Kim's songs, God.
right. She's just
yeah.
one more word. She's going to be out the door.
We're gonna have to start doing that, like at shows. We'll have to disperse into the audience. Like, if you guys talk to that Sam guy, he's an asshole.
He's a real son bitch.
Yeah, we'll
Is
have to
he
start
hitting
some
you,
rumors.
honey? Is he hitting you?
Blink once for yes, lick your eyebrow for no.
Oh God! Well, like Ian and John and Rebecca did the
God.
house show with was at the Bandit Queen of Sorrows. Afterwards, Ian's like, they had something of someone was wearing one of our shirts or something. He's like, "Oh, dude, you know that dude? Man, the lead singer of that band treats his child terribly. He makes fun of him all the time and does all this. He kept saying, he sells the worst." And John's like, "That's his son. That's who's saying this." And Ian had him all riled up, like, "Man, that guy sounds like the worst."
Like granny torch and pitchforks, we're going to his house.
Right? Like, I'd never play with him. It's like, that's his son that's telling you all this. Like,
Happy Father's Day.
We need
all my
Ian to
love,
do our
Ian.
PR,
right, that's where you know he's actually my kid.
right?
True.
I tease him
That
and
is
say he's just some
very true.
rando kid, but he's my kid.
He's a pretty funny kid from what I see online. I follow him. Yeah.
So that's a good thing, man. So you mentioned, parenthood and all that. So at what point did you end up in Houston? Was that something you did when you were younger? Was something
Yeah. So when I was, I guess when I graduated from high school, I had two ways to go. I could go to Oklahoma City and I had a chance to get a partial scholarship in music there, or I could do art. And I just didn't think I could make a living in music. And so I moved to Houston to go to Art Institute, and then I hated it down here. And the kids were just, I came from this little podunky town, and the kids that I was in school with, and this was like 82, everything was about sex. You couldn't say anything. Oh, do you want to sleep with him, or you want to suck his, and I was like, I fucking hate these people. They're awful. So I left, and my mom was British. I went to England for a year and went to an art school there for a little while, and then came back, and then I ended up coming back to Houston and finishing at the Art Institute, and then I just kind of, one thing leads to another, and you just kind of never leave, So
So once you got past that freshman year, did people's hormones calm down a little bit?
I think I got in with a different group of kids.
That's good
Good
too.
call.
And that was really night and day. Some of the kids that I got into, you go by quarter, so you're with the kids for the entire time. And they were just a little less, the ones I made friends with were just a little less crazy. Or just they were cynical and hard. And I was like, I wasn't quite ready for that. I'm like that now, but I wasn't ready for that at that age.
I was so full of hope.
That's right. When I moved down here, I brought my teddy bears. Okay. I'm talking, I was a little girl when I first moved to Houston. And so, it was just a crazy culture shock for me. But
It's a big city. I don't think people, if you're not from Texas, you don't realize how big Houston is.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
what a culture shock it is to move here.
Right. And there was just a harshness. I mean, just different things I said to different people. Like, I remember one of my teachers was English, and I said, "Oh, my mom's English." And he's like, "Well, you've got to be from somewhere." And it was just, everything was kind of a smart ass,
kinda
cynical,
snarky.
just snarky. And that's what I freaking hated about it. It was like, you guys all suck. But it got better. It got better, obviously.
Yeah. Art schools have their share of pretension. It just comes with the territory.
Oh, 100%. 100. Lots of people with their heads way up their own asses, I can tell you
Feel
that.
attacked right now as an art teacher.
Not you, man.
No, I'm a jerk. I'll be the first to admit it. My students will tell you that too. But I get some damn good art out of them, so it's okay.
You do. Hell's like he's almost like one of the gymnastics teachers, like just beats
Do
his
not say
children
Bella
down.
Caroli, please. I don't want to.
Right.
I can't.
The Bella Caroli of art.
Do it again. Do it again, yeah. No.
Just kids finish their sculptures, he just pushes them off the table.
Now work from here.
Do it like you mean it this
I have
time.
like the stick. I'm like, bah, bah on the ground. Like, faster, faster.
Not my tempo.
Carry your baseball bat and just crush everything.
It's better than the other option of me being like the creepy teacher in the movie Ghost when they were doing the throwing on the wheel, coming up behind them, putting my hands over their hands.
Don't do that. See, and I thought you were going for something totally different. When you started this subject, I thought you were going to talk about like that you both have kids named Ian.
We do both have kids.
So that was interesting.
Well, we're
the
both pretty
chances?
smart.
Yeah. Yeah, your
It's a
kids
good
are smart.
name, quality name.
Quality. There you go.
Creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Our
kids.
kids are both rather creative.
My son's just named Trey. Trey, not AY. He'll tell you that too.
Okay. Number 3.
Yep.
It's so much better than number 2.
That would be me.
Oh.
I'm the deuce.
Oh.
That's true.
Can confirm.
Junior.
No, do not say that. Linda Helfenstein will fight you in an alley if you call me Junior.
I'm not calling you that.
I
Your
don't.
dad calls you that. I've heard your
He
dad
doesn't
call
do it in
you
front
that.
of her. You know why? They've been happily married for 45 years because he hasn't screwed that up yet.
All right. So moving forward with Trish, I know we keep going off talking about ourselves.
That's
'cause
okay.
It's before a show. We're feeling very self-important.
We're nervous. I'm nervous.
Yeah, I'm always nervous. I'm just hoping people make it here in their canoes tonight.
I know.
Because that will be,
I wonder.
that would be great.
I wonder if the microphones are picking up like the thunder and the rain.
Oh, I'm sure that's going to be
Little bit.
awesome.
Rain's supposed to clear out by like showtime, so
That'd be
hopefully
cool.
the water dissipates.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'm sure my dog's at home just having a nervous breakdown, poor little fella.
So can I ask you this? If you started playing guitar and you met your partner, and you said you'd been writing that whole time but not really sharing that with anybody, how did that feel when you got to sit down and share all of that with someone that you trusted and had, kind of were playing music with for a little while? I assumed y'all played together.
We did. He played with me in the beginning. I had the band I was playing with. It was him and a few other guys. So Dave had this thing every month at this beat up old shithole called the Shamrock Inn, way out in 59, and it was for his students. We'd all go out there and jam, and different configurations of us together. So anyway, I put together a band of some folks from there, great players, and then slowly people have left town and all that. Dave has a terrible problem with his hands now. He has a neural issue that some musicians get where his brain doesn't send the right signals to his fingers. So he's going through therapy for that for a couple of years, so he doesn't play with me anymore. What was the question?
Like, how did it feel when you finally got to share all those songs?
Yeah, it was pretty weird. And I think, so David heard all of them, and he was like, I think they're good, but, he's got to say that, And so when I decided I wanted to go and record, I think that was the magic of working with Paul Beebe, is that, here's a guy that can play anything, and, he's kind of his family with David Beebe and everything is kind of like a little musical institution to a certain extent here, and that guy knows how to deal with people. And he knew that if he chatted with me a little while before we started recording, that
You'd be relaxed.
I'd chill out a little bit. First day I went in there was a mess. I had to have a wine cooler at 10 o'clock in the morning because I was so nervous. And it got easier and easier because he's like a little brother to me, only a little brother that's way smarter than me. And so when I go in and record with him, I can even say to him, does this song suck? Or is this cheesy? And he's pretty honest with me, and so that really helped us I just found the right person the first time to record with, who also was willing to Dave came up with a lot of guitar parts on my first 2 albums, but he was able to fill in everything, and actually he has a great time doing it. He plays everything, comes up with different parts and stuff. I'll have ideas for certain things, but if I don't, Paul's the guy. So he's been my band, really. And I just hire people to play the parts that he comes up with or that Dave has come up with. And it's also been really great to have these rotating musicians, because like tonight, 2 guys I usually play with are with Ork and Corpus Christi. So I have 2 other people, but it keeps people from, I think, getting the whole band dynamic that you can have if you play for a long time.
Yeah.
It also keeps me safe from people wanting to change my songs.
Right.
And as a female, present company excluded, some guys really think they know better. And it's like, even if this song sucks, it's mine.
Right.
So I don't want to change it to what you think it might be better, because this is really coming from my heart, and this kind of is how it needs to be.
It's really not about you.
It's not. No, I'm paying you to play this, and I get it if you don't like it. I'm sorry, but this is kind of how it needs to stay. So in general, I don't run into a lot of that with this particular scenario. I do miss the camaraderie of having a group of people to create with, but I kind of have that with Dave and Paul to a certain extent. And so far it's worked. So far that's worked really nicely.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
That's funny. It's always my joke before we interview someone who's female, because people have that idiotic, I can move in and tell them what to do, or I can do this. It's like the first question should always be, when did you find out, despite having a vagina, that you could actually make music?
Yeah.
What did it feel like? Because
Right.
everyone's always like,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
take them. It's just some chick singing in that band. You're not
Right.
a guy, so you don't. No one says that really in front of their girlfriends or anything when they move like that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'll even go, if I go to a guitar store and I'm buying something, they'll usually say, is this for you? Or do you have a kid that plays? Do you have a son that plays? I get that a lot. But in general, I've been pretty lucky so far and Dave, my partner, does not. He's 100%. He's a prog guy. He doesn't write the stuff I write anyway.
Right.
So we have these divergent styles, and when he does come up with parts, I love it because it's kind of like Nels Cline on a Wilco album. You know what I mean? It's so different.
He brings this style to it.
He brings this cool stuff to it that I would never think of, and Paul said he would never, and so it kind of does this. Not that I compare myself to Wilco, let me put it that way, but you know what I'm saying? It's kind of is something so outside the box. It really is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
I guess that's my question. Like the one we listen to quite often, Supernova. But I guess what albums did you have before that? Do you have more than that? I mean,
Yeah.
that's not your newest one.
I have The Margins.
Okay.
So when my first album I started recording in 2017, and that was Ain't Your Angel, and that was older songs that I'd written, and then some came to me during the recording, and then like in the next year I make the joke that I decided to release the next album right when COVID started, so that was cool, and that was The Margins, and then during COVID I wrote Supernova, and that kind of kept me from losing my mind just because I could concentrate on doing that, and I would go for long walks, and that's kind of how I wrote a lot of the songs. And then right now I'm recording an EP with Paul, and then I've had this crazy opportunity to record another EP, some songs with Chris Masterson.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I'll be doing that early June.
But deserved. Don't feel like it's not deserved.
Well, I appreciate that. It's
or keep feeling like it's not. You don't become like egotistical and like.
So you're still friends with us?
Pardon?
So you're still friends with us?
Shut up. No, it's all like wide-eyed wonder for me every step of the way. I don't think I've ever gotten jaded by any of it because, like I said, I think the fact that I'm not a fantastic musician, I'm always wowed by everybody around me, And like tonight, I've got guys that are playing with me that it just elevates me so much and helps me kind of rise to the occasion even when I am super nervous.
Yeah.
So, I feel really lucky. We got crazy good musicians in this city, you know?
Yeah. It's funny, too, because we were I was like, because you do all your own graphic art, like you do all your art for your albums and everything.
Yeah.
Like, she writes all the songs, she does all the art. And I was like, is it difficult for you to, like, let things go of yours? But, you said you work with Paul and everybody. And
I mean, even when the guys, like when we're playing gigs, I tell the guys, if you want to play with some of the parts, I don't expect everybody to be robots and play verbatim. You can get a little creative if you want to. I mean, I trust all of them. They're all really good and they know what they're doing. So, but I don't want to box in. And, I don't play that much anymore. I'm playing like once a month now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping that nobody feels super stale on any of the stuff. So I try to just not micromanage people who know what they do and they're good at it, Well,
it's cool when you're able to change things up live, I think, when you have different people like that, because just from past bands, things will happen that you never thought of, and you're like, oh
my
okay.
God, it's crazy.
Okay, I'm going to have to remember that one.
Right.
Like, that sounded really cool compared to everything else.
Yeah, and I'm playing for the most part, I've got different guys tonight, but I'm playing for the most part with the same musicians that play with Charlie Harrison.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those guys have been playing together for a long time, and they just have chemistry and history, and they know where they're, definitely Isaiah and Mark are kind of connected at the hip a little bit. So sometimes they'll, on a solo, I'm like, okay, that song just ran off and took off, but it's fun to be in the middle of it and listen to what they're doing. Willie will go to town or whoever.
Yeah.
And they're all kind of ad-libbing, and it sounds fantastic. And that's not on the albums that I have. Those are just those guys sinking their teeth in and having a good time,
That's why you need to come out and support live music, is to see things.
Yeah.
You're not going to get on the record.
100%, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the record's good.
It is.
Well,
like,
I appreciate that.
you can go through my internet, Facebook, social media feeds, and it's rare. I'm like, hey, here's this album that you need to go check out right now. And, Supernova came out. We got that. And I think it was just, you'd posted about it. I was sitting there. I was bored. And I was like, oh, I'll download Trish's album. Let's do it. And I was like,
damn it.
So I think we bought
That
it
was
together.
my thought. Damn
No,
it.
we bought it together. Yeah, I bought it. So I put it on our shared Google Drive. I was like, download this and listen to it. I'm busy. It's like, I don't care if you're at work. Download it, listen to it. You're going to love this. Like, this is such a great record. And then, about an hour later, Kim was like, her number one way that we give praise is like, man, fuck her.
Yep.
I know exactly what you're saying. And I appreciate that you guys have said fuck her behind my back.
We have.
That means a lot to me.
few
Because I
times.
love y'all's stuff. And so that means a whole lot to me. Yeah.
And it's just like,
Yeah.
dude, Oh, God, it sounds so good.
It makes you like come in and throw your hat down like, son of a bitch.
Well, it's like,
Why did I do that?
I hope I can always make you guys say "fuck her" behind
a lot of times live, you know, it's hard to, in a live situation, bar stuff, even when people are listening, you don't get every lyric sitting at, you know,
It's a very
Continental
different
Club
experience,
and things like that.
yeah.
And then it was just like, when you start hearing everything, it's like, oh, man, she can write like decent lyrics. God damn. It's not fair. I can't sing.
It's not fair.
I can't sing. How can she sing and write?
It's not fair.
He just went and cried into his pillows, like kicking his legs.
No, it was just, I really was making it sound bad. I was so I was just blown away. I was like, post online, I was like, y'all need to go listen. Like, everyone needs to go listen to this record.
I appreciate that.
Well, and
Like,
I
it
was
was
trying
really
to
good.
recall on the way here, we were talking about when was the first time I saw you live, and I think it was at Dan Electro's when you played with Nathan Taylor. But I told Sam, I was like, wow, she's really good, and I just assumed that you were like really famous. Immediately, I was just like, she's so good.
And I do appreciate that, but I think I would have to be extremely amazing at this age for anybody to really stop and take a listen. I think it's a weird thing. I was talking to somebody was reviewing one of the margins, and he's like, you could never have written these songs when you were younger. And I was like, I couldn't read most of these songs. I could not have written when I was younger because I didn't have the same experiences. And that's the kind of strange thing about songwriting in the music industry is once you get to a certain age, especially as a woman, you are deemed unfuckable and you just kind of don't matter anymore.
Right.
And I mean, there's a few exceptions. But
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
it's
the
few.
older women that are big still were, they got big when they were really young.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. People like, oh, it's this grizzled old guy. And no one's like, yeah,
Look at that sexy old granny over there.
she's hot.
Nobody
for an old
says that.
lady,
It's
but,
so weird that
let's
anybody
do it.
has to be sexy to. I mean, Bob Dylan. I think he became sexy because of his mind. But there are so many people back in the day when we just heard the music instead of had this whole
Right.
branding bullshit
Now we have to
that we
market
have
it,
now.
yeah.
Well, yeah, once it got to move to the format of video and everything, it just kind of
Yep.
fell apart. It's like, yeah, I like the music, but I really don't want to fuck that person. I mean, there were like, male and female performers,
Right.
and just like record sales bombed because on this last tour we listened to I Want My MTV, like the audio book. Because that's what we do, the rock and rollers we are. We listen to audio
yeah.
books.
Nerds.
We're on the road.
Getting crazy on the road.
And then, so, that's when we killed Trish before the show.
She choked.
choked
What they were talking about was
Illiterate.
or it was like Chris Squire wore pink and danced on his bed, and that was the end of his career.
Billy Squire.
Billy Squire. Sorry.
Billy
Yeah.
They just whatever,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, I think look,
Same
obviously
guy.
Sting is insanely talented person, but musician.
He's a bass player. He's not.
But he was so captivating on film in the videos. He was so, and I think that started becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And
Like, good for you, but I'm not captivating.
right,
I need you to just
disagree.
listen to me.
you're captivating. You're captivating.
We like you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I say fuck anybody that didn't like you, Kim. They're
Well,
not good people.
I
They're
just
not
mean
good
as far as
people.
I know I said, you seem to me like you were much more famous, but I don't know that I'd ever want to be famous.
Oh God, no. I don't think
Yeah.
I have. No, there's all this. What if you'd gone into music instead of art a long time ago? And I don't know really if I had the constitution for the music business, and especially when it'd be too young and stupid to know
Oh yeah,
what
I'm glad
you
I
can
didn't
really
try
get
to tackle
into.
it when I was young. Definitely.
like my
would have
son-
chewed me up and spit me out.
Oh my God, absolutely. My son is traveling around the country performing, and this is what he thought he always wanted, and he really does. I mean, he loves the performance aspect, but the getting on a plane every other day and going somewhere else, he absolutely hates. And he likes getting recognized, but by the same time, sometimes he gets recognized by weirdos. And so there's, I'm pretty comfortable being where I'm at. And I think, too, being this old is I'm not going to get a label or anything. So that means I can continue writing whatever the fuck I want to write.
And recording however you
And
want.
just do whatever I want. And I'll put the
Yeah.
music out there, and maybe somebody will connect with it. And if they don't, they don't. I don't have anything to lose but money.
That's kind of the thing. Like Shane talked about during his interview. He's like, we had the fortune of never being that popular. Where it's like we were popular enough. We could, as long as we played every day, we could pay for touring and making records.
Yeah.
It's like, but we weren't big enough where we couldn't do what we wanted to do.
Right.
It's like there's a lot of freedom that comes with like, okay, I think Steve Albini talks about that a lot with Shellac. It's like, we get to do whatever we want. So that's why I keep running my recording studio and doing that, because I'm not having anyone tell me well, you need to make a record that sounds like this last one, so we'll buy it. It's like, no.
Right.
Not that he's ever made accessible music, but it's the whole idea of...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too, is like, I know a few people that have had that transition from the point where they could, before their show, before their gig, they could sit at the bar and hang out, right?
Yeah.
And a few people would recognize and come talk to them. And then suddenly they had something hit, and they had to go hang out in the green room the entire time, because if they went out to the bar, they're going to be inundated with all these people. And I'm like, I wouldn't want to do, that'd be a boring existence, Like, I'll stay in my lovable mediocrity. I'll stay here. I'm comfortable.
Well, that's what blows me away with, like, Ben Nichols. You go see Lucero, like, he is in the audience the entire night when they're not on stage.
Yeah.
I guess it's just because, it's been, after a while, it's just like, there it is. But it's just amazing, like, how does this dude continually do this? Like, they keep getting, like, they're a pretty big band now.
Yeah, no.
Lucero, and it's like, how do you do? But, when we saw him at White Oak a few years ago, he's just hanging out by the bar in the back. Like, what's up? Hey, what's going on? I'm like, guess if it's expected. It's just strange.
He's just defying the expectation, Back to you saying, I think there's plenty of people that are mediocre that are famous.
That's true.
And I think
Very
there's
true.
a lot of people that are really fucking good that are not where they should be.
Agreed.
I mean, that's the part of all of this that bums me out more than anything is some of the people I really love. I'm just kind of like, wow, how are you not playing a much more gigantic venue for more money,
Yeah. But also, if they were, then I don't know. I would probably resent and hate music if it got to that point. And then it wouldn't be fun anymore.
Well, I have some buddies from Kentucky. They grew up with Tyler Childers, right? They were in his wedding. Now they can't even hang out. Like you can't go just hang out with Tyler because it's like you have to plan everything out because he's at that level.
Yeah.
Where it's not like we can bro out. You're not going to go to the corner store and pick up a 40 and hang out. Like,
right.
You have to plan this all out, and that's got to be not cool at some point.
Fame, I think, does weird things, or success, should I say, does weird things to some friendships. I think some people get really weird about success, and it makes them uncomfortable. And that is my guitar player warming up in the.
All right.
Yeah.
Just
Getting
the warm up
close to
sounds good.
showtime.
I'm cool.
Right.
But it's... I don't know. I always go back to the thing as a young kid listening to like The Wall. It's like that taught me. It's like, I don't ever want. I'd hate popularity because it's all that album is. It's just how much Roger Waters hated fame.
Right.
And it was just like, I hate everybody. I'm too misanthropic for all this.
Right.
Like Neil Peart, he would not meet any of the fans after the shows. The other guys, Geddy Lee and I can't remember the Alex
Lifeson?
Yeah. And he wouldn't go out. He's like, I'm not here to make people's fanboy fantasies come true. It sounds shitty, but by the same token, if you go and like leave everything on the stage, it's a hell of a thing to ask somebody to also come and be social afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand both sides of it. I mean, I have a hard time being social after a show, and I'm nobody, and it's just because I'm fucking worn out.
I'm just awkward.
Well, I think a lot of it is you have to realize that not everyone functions the same
way.
Just
Right.
because
Very
one
true.
person's like, all right, I finished the show, I'm going to go hang out and have a beer with everybody, doesn't mean everybody. Some people are just, they're scared shitless when they're on stage and
Right.
they get off without having a guitar between them and the audience. It's really scary.
Yeah.
Or shy. Or just
Yeah.
shy. I mean, I do better with one-on-ones, but if it's a big group of people, I'm kind of like, I'm going to go over here. Yeah. So, they just expect performers, I think, to be robots.
I think that's
Well,
just an
I think we also
expectation.
realize that there's a little bit of we create a bit of a stage persona, right? There is this confidence that
Sure.
we create. And
True.
we're not always those people. Like when I get off stage, I'm talking, but in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to say something stupid. I know it. I'm going to say something stupid, and it's just how I function.
No.
That
makes me sad.
No. I mean, but also my job, what I do 9 to 5 is I'm on all the time, and I'm
Yeah,
it's
it'd be
almost like I'm
exhausting.
living on stage all the time.
Yeah.
So when I'm not in that, I'm like, oh God, I'm a mess. I'm so scatterbrained.
It sounds like you just need to unplug when you're not working.
I think so.
That just sounds, like you need some time.
Hell with that. We got podcasts,
We got
recording
stuff
shows
to
to
do.
play.
That's right.
That's what I was laughing about talking about the Tyler Childers thing. I mean, we're nobodies, and it's like I'm already at like my friend like, when can we hang out? I'm like, all right, dude,
July?
May 27th is the next time that we have a Saturday with nothing going on. What do you say? Do we hang out on May 27th?
This was the beginning of April, by the way.
Wow.
If you want to get some quality health time, get in the band with me.
That's
okay?
right. Yeah. You want to hang out.
That's the only reason Sam has me in the band. He just wanted to be my friend.
That's
so
what
he's like,
I learned.
"Come on."
I learned when Sam and I started dating. If I wanted to see Sam, I needed to go to Sam's shows
Oh.
because that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Kim made him better.
Aw.
Can confirm on that. No offense,
Thanks.
Sam.
Thanks.
You know.
I'm making
Thanks, bro.
hearts. Pew. Pew. Pew.
We're so gross.
Well, all right. Is there anything else you'd like to add? We feel like sound check's fixing to go down, so
Yep.
we need to get moving.
Okay.
I hear you're recording a new EP. Just released a couple songs off of it, right?
Yeah, I just kind of did a loose release.
Okay.
And so I won't actually do like the release when I put all 5 together. And that was with
Nice.
Edgewater, and they were great. And they're just, I can't afford them all the time. So
And now you're going to go record another EP in July, you said?
So I'm doing 3 songs with Chris Masterson to put with the Edgewater songs to release as an EP. And then I'm doing 5 songs with Paul Beebe that later in the year I'll release as an EP.
Nice.
Man, someone is staying busy. I like it.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, I got to do this shit before I die.
Exactly.
Right.
We ain't getting any younger.
I am not getting any younger. Right. So
Well, awesome. We'll look for those. And if you have not checked out Supernova, check out Supernova.
thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me.
killer
It was
record.
nice
Killer
chatting with
songwriting
y'all.
on that.
It is good. We always enjoy this because we get to know people better. So
Yeah.
thanks for coming and playing tonight.
Thank you for asking me. It means a lot to me. This is my first time at Old Quarter.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Later.
Bye.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to this episode of Music in the Minor League. If you like what you heard, remember, share the podcast with a friend. Let people know you dig it. It's the best way for us to beat the algorithms and actually get heard by some folks. If you enjoyed Trish, please follow her online. Go check her out on Spotify. Go to Bandcamp and buy a copy of her record. She has 2 of them out. It's worth checking out. It's really great stuff. Now we're going to leave you with her song, Walk in the Sun. This is one of Kim's favorites, so we hope you'll enjoy it as much as we do. And we'll see you next week for our 20th episode celebration as our friends from Grifters and Chills come in and we discuss influential albums that led us to play music. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
We're tripping over our own feet. History's always on repeat. Don't live long enough to learn is why life's always got us beat. Never in the driver's seat. We bought a pack of lies wholesale. The devil's not in the details. And every step begs the question, are we headed the right way? Who's in charge of this parade? Don't waste your faith on man-made tropes and promises of paradise beyond. It's a con. Don't get trapped on the hamster wheel and grind away the good most romantic love. A flash of gold can turn to dust. You can kill yourself, you got free will, but it'll own you like a drug. And then one day you sober up. Don't waste your faith on man-made tropes and promises of paradise beyond. It's a con. Don't get trapped on the hamster wheel and grind away the good years till they're gone. Walk in the Don't go gentle into that black night. Rage against the dying